Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Wherever you're watching us, welcome to the daily market analysis. I'm your host, Trader Kim. So, this week is a very, very busy week looking on the fundamentals, starting with the fundamentals as it is our custom. You can see this week we are expecting to see monetary policy statements on central banks. And talking about the central banks, we have seen today we had the Bank of Japan interest rate. And also this week, today also we'll be having the FOMC meeting, that's the Fed meeting. And talking of today's news, you can see the Japan, the interest rates has remained the same and remain unchanged. That is the focus was 0.5, then the actual 0.5. But we can see we having the Bank of Japan press conference in a few that is tentative, can come out anytime. And the later also at evening we'll be having the Fed meeting on the federal funds rates. That's basically the interest rates. And for the dollar, still we'll be expecting for the rates to remain unchanged, 4.5, 4.5. And still we'll be having the press conference at 9:30. So this week is a busy week for the Japan and the dollar pairs. Talking about the yen and the dollar pairs, be expecting a lot of volatility today. So that is it on the fundamentals of today. So then this week on tomorrow we'll be having the Fed, we'll be having the monetary policies for the Swiss National Bank, that is a CHF. And for the CHF, we're expecting for a rate cut from 0.5 to 0.25. So, and that is it for the CHF. Still also tomorrow we'll be expecting to see the Bank of England also on the interest rates. And also for the pound, we're expecting to remain unchanged, 4.5, 4.5. And finally on Friday, we'll be having the retail sales for the card. So this week is a very, very busy week for the interest rates for the most of the central banks. Talking about the dollar, talking about the pound, talking about the yen, and the Swiss. It's a very, very busy week. So we can check on the Fed watch tool to see what are we expecting later in the evening on the Fed meeting. So checking on the Fed watch tool, we can see that we're expecting the rates to remain unchanged. So we have 99 probability, 99% to expect the rates to remain unchanged. So that's what we're going to expect today. But this year we expected to see some a lot of the cut rates. Speaking on talking about on December, you can see that we're expecting to see some 3 rate cuts. So talking about from this side, expecting to see some 3 rate cuts, 1, 2, 3. But talking about, so this will be we'll be looking on the inflation data to see where we are going to start from on the overall economy of the US. But talking right now, talking about the inflation, you can see the inflation has gone down from 3.0 to 2.8. But yes, I know most of us are expecting to see some rate cut. But looking how the metrics, how the USD is performing, talking about the trade wars, trade tariffs, you can see like today, I'm not going to expect a rate cut. They are not going to expect a rate cut. We're expecting for the rates to remain unchanged. So maybe going on to the technicals, we can start with the idea of the DXY as it is our custom, and to see how the market has transpired today. Okay, starting with the chart of the DXY as it is our custom, it is chart of the DXY, it is. And looking at the chart of the DXY on the higher time frame, you can see that the trade came and broke this support region. So we've seen this market came and close below this support region. So what we are expecting was expect to see some pullbacks before we continue on selling this the XY chart. So and this is the XY chart. We have been very bearish, talking about the head and shoulder patterns that we drew. The market expected very very nicely, but we expect to see some sort of the pullbacks to this region before we position ourselves for further sales. Talking about the US 10-year bond, US 30-year bonds, you'll be expecting some sales. So also looking at the correlations, we'll be expecting for the DXY to continue selling. So not unless otherwise, not unless we see otherwise, not unless we see the jobs increasing on the US, that's the labor market. Talking about the inflation to go higher, so that's where we be expected to see dollar index gaining. But right now, what the market is showing us, and also talking about the fundamentals and the factors, is this expecting for further downside on the DXY. So going on to look on the group 1 pairs, that is the major pairs. We can start with the GBP USD. And the GBP USD, you can see it is at the resistance region. So what you'll be expecting, you'll be expecting to see some pullbacks all the way to this structure where we have this 50 EMA and 200 EMA crossover before we position ourselves for further buys. And if you see this market breaking above this region where we have the resistance, we expected to see some pullbacks before we position ourselves for further buys. So on GBP USD, we expected to see some sort of buy momentum. Coming to look on the lower time frame, you can see the market is selling. So an ideal position for us to take for buys, we can wait for this market at the 200 EMA. But still, if we see a reversal candlestick forming at the 50 EMA, we can still attempt as our first trade on the GBP USD for a buy. But an ideal position is on the 200 EMA. That is on a GBP USD, but this 50 EMA has been acting as a support region. So this 50 EMA has been acting as a support region. So the also a key reversal region for us to consider this trade. So GBP USD, you're still expecting for further buys. Talking about Euro USD, the market is approaching at the 50 EMA. So if we get a reversal candlestick at this point, will be tempted for us to take for buys. So if we see this market coming out of the Asian box and forming for us reversal patterns, will be interested for us looking for the buys. That is it on Euro US. Another trade we can check we have is AUD USD. And talking about the AUD USD has been head up by that 50 EMA. So for us, we'll be expecting to see some sort of the reversal patterns. If this market will not reverse at this point, we expected this market to come all the way to the 200 EMA. And talking about this 200 EMA, you can see it's where you have this structure on the H1 time frame. So at this point, you can see is where we have that structure. So we expected to see this market coming to this region before. So whenever we enter this market at this region, it is a medium risk trade. But when we enter this market at the 200 EMA, is a low risk trade. Is a low risk trade. That's it on AUD USD. Another trade we can check is NZD USD. And talking about NZD USD, still seeing this trade. We saw the other day the Reserve Bank of New Zealand cutting the rates, but you can see the market, it is at the 200 EMA. So what we be expected? We'll be expected to see some pullbacks before we continue buying. So the pullbacks are waiting for it to come all the way to the 200 EMA. So the 200 EMA is where we'll be taking our buys as a low risk trade on these NZD USD pair. So we can go on to the group 2. Talking about the group 2, we have the USD CHF. And this week, tomorrow, we'll be having the CHF news, that is the Swedish National Bank. And we have said that we're going to expect a rate cut on CHF. But for the dollar, you have said that you're going to expect the rates to remain unchanged. Talking about this pair, we've been seeing this trade has been buying. So last year we saw this trade buying, but right now you can see the market is making the low highs and the lower lows. So the other day we saw this market even being head up by this support region very nicely. We saw this market going all the way to the 13 EMA before we see this market going lower. So what do we expect on this market? We expect to see some sort of the low highs and the lower lows. We expect this market to come and break this zone or this demand region before we position ourselves for further sales. So talking about this trade on the H1 time frame, you can see the market is going very nicely. So you can see the market is making the low highs, the lower lows, the lower highs, the lower lows. So we expect to see some sort of the lower highs before we position ourselves for further downside on USD CHF. So that is on the USD CHF. Another trade pair we can check is the USD JPY. So talking about this trade, we had the yen monetary policy statements, and I can see you're having the press conference on the yen. So talking about the yen, I've been very much bearish on it. So, but for this one, still be expecting to see some sort of the pullbacks at the 50 EMA, that is on a daily time frame, before we look for the positions to sell, that is on long term. So, but right now on H1 time frame, you can see the market is trying to form an M pattern. So for this market, we're waiting for it at the 800 EMA, and where we have the ADR high, see we have the stop and box for us to position ourselves for further sales on this USD JPY. Another trade we can check is the USD CAD. So USD CAD, looking at it on the daily time frame, you see this market has come below the 50 EMA, so we'll be expecting to see some sort of the pullbacks before we go on to the sales. But talking about the CAD pairs, the CAD pairs is being affected by the oil prices. But right now, talking about the CAD pairs, right now you're much neutral on them. So not unless we've seen some momentum on this trade, but I'm favoring this trade for further buys than on sales. But when it comes to look on the short time frame, you can see the market is the key reversal region where you have yesterday's highs, where we have. So for this market, we also have the 50 EMA, so we expect to see some sort of the reversal candlestick before we take some sales. Still on this market, you can see the market is making the low highs and the low lows. So whenever you see the market giving us a reversal candlestick, will be tested for us looking for sales. So another trade we can check it have is the GPPs. Talking about the GPP AUD, GPP AUD, looking at it on the daily time frame, you can see the market is making the higher highs and the higher lows. You can see the market came and confirm the break of structure at this region. So this market, we are going to position ourselves for buys. But looking at this market in the raw time frame, you can see the market is being held up by the EMAs. So whenever you see this market held up by the EMAs, you try as much as possible to avoid. But for us, we'll be interested to see this market coming to the lows before we position ourselves for buys. That is on GPPUD, looking for the opportunities to buys. Talking about GCAD, GCAD at the moment, I'm neutral. We're much neutral on GPP card. Coming to look at it on the H1 time frame, you can see the market, it is at the EMAs. So no trade on this pair at the moment. So another trade we can check we have is the euros. Talking about the euro AUD. So the euro AUD, be looking for the buys opportunities. We're much bullish on the euro AUD, GPP AUD. So talking about this trade, we expected to see some sort of the reversal candlesticks at this 50 EMA before we position ourselves for further buys. So we expect to see some sort of the WB patterns for us to position ourselves for further buys. So be looking for this market out of the Asian range before we position ourselves on the buy momentum. So another trading can check we have with the group 5 pairs. And talking about group 5 pairs, we have the L pairs, we have the GPP JPY trade. You can see the market is on the daily time frame. The market has broken down. These are 50 EMA, 200 EMA. So what do we expecting of this market? Because we are still looking for the sales opportunities, we can go with the idea of the liquidities, and you can see this market has come to the previous highs. So looking at this market, we have this resistance region. So the resistance region. So whenever you see the market, the resistance region is a key reversal region. Looking at it on the lower time frame to see if we can get some sets opportunities. So for this market, you'll be expected to see some sort of the sets patterns at the yesterday's highs. This market did not give us a setup at the yesterday's highs. We can still look at it at the ADR high, but to be on the safer side, we can wait for this market to come out of the Asian box. Also looking at the Euro JPY, still expecting the same sales opportunities for us to position ourselves for sales. Talking about CHF JPY. So this one of the pairs has been an watch list for some time. So still on this one, because we're expecting for the CHF a rate cut for the yen, you can see the rates has remained unchanged. So if we see a red cut on the CHF, we'll be positioning ourselves for further sales. That is on the dollar cost average. So we'll be looking for the sales opportunities on the CHF JPY from next week. So that is it on the CHF JPY or on the yen pairs. Talking about the metals, we have gold. Here's the chart of gold, and the gold has been buying very, very nicely. And for me, I've been trading this trade from 2671 mark up to date. But the fundamentals or the metrics are favoring gold. So gold, I'm still holding this trade for further buys. And for this one, I've traded my stop loss. For this one, I've traded my stop loss to this region where we have 29.50s. That is where I've traded my stop. But for me, we're looking for further buys side on these gold. You can see right now gold is making a new high. So I know most of the retail traders, they'll be tempted for a look for the sales opportunities. So that's why I usually advise that make the trend to be your friend. Don't counter trade. Make the trend to be your friend. And maybe sometimes if you are counter trading, make sure that your stop loss is very, very tight. But on my opinion, I'll be trading my stop loss until the trade come and stop me out. That is where I'll be getting out of this gold trade. But looking on the fundamentals are still favoring on the metals. Talking about gold, talking about silver still, the fundamentals are favoring gold. And you can see like we had the inflation data on the US is declining. So still we're seeing the DXY is declining still also. So a bit interested to look for the buy momentum on these metals. So that is it on the metals. Talking about the stock indices, we're much neutral on them. Talking about Nasdaq, talking about S&P 500. So we are much neutral on them. Talking about the Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin, we're looking for the sets opportunities all the way to the 800 EMA. That is on the daily time frame. Just to see this Bitcoin going all the way to the 800 EMA. So I'll be interested to look for the sets opportunities I look for the buys opportunities at the 800 EMA. So another trade we can talk about is the oil. And talking about the oil, the chart of oil USD, it is. So still on oil, you're much bearish on it. And we talk the idea of the market come and give us some pullbacks to be interested for us looking for the sell opportunities. And we can see when Trump entered the office, we saw this market as expecting the setup selling. We saw this market selling very nicely, and up to date, we're still expecting to see some sets positions, setups for us to position ourselves for the sales opportunities. So that is it on the today market analysis. A disclaimer: this is not for financial advice, but for the educational purposes. You must do your due diligence and use proper risk management. See you tomorrow, the same time and the same place. Bye.